For almost 2,000 years, one of the most important clues in Roman concrete was sitting in plain sight, and everyone who looked at it called it a mistake. These little white lumps, millimeters across, they turn up all through ancient Roman concrete, and for decades the smartest materials scientists in the world had the same reaction. Sloppy work, cheap ingredients. The Romans didn't mix the batch properly, and here's the proof. One problem: the concrete made by these supposedly careless people is still standing. Harbours that have sat in seawater for 2,000 years. A dome in Rome nobody has beaten since. Meanwhile, the concrete we pour today, with computers and steel, starts crumbling in decades. In 2023, a team at MIT looked again at those lumps, and the thing everyone had written off as bad workmanship turned out to be the cleverest part of the whole recipe. Not a flaw, a repair system built into the stone that heals its own cracks with nothing but rainwater. The evidence had been in every sample the whole time, and the experts were looking straight at it, calling it a defect. Here's how the Romans built stone that fixes itself, and how the whole world mistook their best idea for their worst. Stand under the dome of the Pantheon, dedicated around 1900 years ago, made of unreinforced concrete, and still today the largest unreinforced concrete dome on Earth. Nobody has built a bigger one since. Not the cathedral builders, not the Victorians, not us. And it isn't just the Pantheon. Roman aqueducts still carry water into Rome. Roman piers still stand in the sea after 2,000 years of weather, earthquakes, and the total collapse of the civilization that built them. Now, our concrete, a lot of it is built to last only a few decades to a century, and plenty fails inside that window. And there's a specific reason, almost the opposite of a strength. We put steel bars inside to stop it cracking under tension. It works, until water finds the first small crack and reaches the steel. The steel rusts, rust swells, and it pushes the concrete apart from the inside. The thing we add for strength becomes the thing that destroys it. The Romans used no steel at all. By our logic, theirs should be the fragile one. Instead, it outlasted the empire. So the question that's nagged engineers for a very long time is simple. What did they know that we don't? For a long time we thought we had it, and part of the answer was right. The Romans mixed their concrete with volcanic ash. The best came from around Pozzuoli, near Naples, so we still call the stuff pozzolana. Mixed with lime and water, it forms an unusually tough, stable binder. That's real chemistry, and it genuinely is part of why Roman concrete is so good. For decades, that was the whole story. Case closed. But there was always that loose end, those white lumps. Scientists called them lime clasts, and the explanation was basically an insult to the Romans, a sign of carelessness. Either they hadn't mixed the lime properly, or they'd used poor material. A defect a good modern engineer would never allow. And here's what should have bothered people more than it did. This was a civilization that wrote detailed construction manuals and built to tolerances we still admire. And we were asking ourselves to believe those same master builders just kept accidentally leaving lumps of unmixed lime through their most important work for centuries, and never noticed. One MIT scientist, Masic, found that frustrating enough to actually go and look. Not at the ash everyone agreed on, at the lumps everyone had dismissed. What his team found rewrote the recipe. The assumption had been that the Romans used slaked lime, the calm, safe form already combined with water. The evidence pointed somewhere hotter. They were mixing in quicklime, the raw, reactive form, straight in at high temperature, possibly alongside the slaked lime everyone assumed. Hot mixing. Mixing quicklime like that runs extremely hot, and it does two things. It speeds up setting so you build faster, and it seeds the whole material with those brittle, reactive lime clasts. The lumps weren't accidents. They were made on purpose by the way the Romans chose to mix. Because here's what a lime clast really is. A tiny, brittle reservoir of reactive calcium locked inside the stone, doing nothing at all, right up until the day the concrete cracks. Follow what happens when a crack forms, which eventually it always will. The crack travels until it hits a lime clast. Water gets in, rain, groundwater, whatever's around. It reaches the brittle lump, dissolves it, and creates a solution saturated with calcium. And then that solution does what calcium does. It recrystallizes. It hardens back into solid calcium carbonate and grows across the crack, sealing it, welding both sides together. The crack doesn't spread. It gets erased. That's the whole trick. The Romans seeded their concrete with thousands of tiny repair kits, each one dormant until a crack and a little water switch it on. The flaw everyone laughed at is a self-healing system, and it had been sitting there, visible under any microscope, for 2,000 years. A good story isn't proof. It would be easy to look at those lumps, invent a nice explanation, and be wrong. So the MIT team did the thing that separates history from science fiction. They tested it. 2 batches. One made the hot mixing way, full of reactive lime clasts. One control batch made without them. They deliberately cracked both slabs right through, put the halves back together with a gap, and ran water through the crack, the way rain runs through a crack in a wall. At the start, water poured straight through both. Then they waited. On the slab made the Roman way, the MIT team reported the crack healed completely within 2 weeks. The calcium carbonate grew across the gap and sealed it, and the water could no longer get through. The control slab, without the reactive lumps, never healed at all. Same crack, same water, no repair kit. The water just kept flowing, exactly the way it does through a crack in a modern car park. That's the difference between a story and a mechanism. One batch fixed itself, and one didn't. And the only thing that changed was whether it held the lumps we'd spent decades calling a defect. The Romans hadn't been sloppy. We'd been reading their most elegant idea as a failure of theirs, when it was really a gap in ours. There's a second half to this, from a different team and a different study, so I'll keep it separate. Modern concrete hates seawater. Salt is one of the harshest things you can throw at a modern structure, and marine concrete built today can start failing within decades. Roman marine concrete does the opposite. A separate study, led by the geologist Marie Jackson and published in 2017, looked at Roman harbour concrete that had sat in the Mediterranean for 2,000 years. The seawater, the very thing that destroys ours, had been slowly seeping through the Roman material and growing rare new minerals inside it, Alluminous-tobermorite and Phillipsite. Those crystals reinforce the structure. The sea wasn't attacking it, it was feeding it, which means Roman sea concrete gets stronger the longer it sits in the water, the exact opposite of everything we build. And the Romans half knew. Pliny the Elder, almost 2,000 years ago, wrote that their sea concrete became, in one translation, a single stone mass, impregnable to the waves, and every day stronger. He didn't know the chemistry. He just saw the result, wrote it down, and a laboratory proved him right 2,000 years later. So if it was this good, why did we stop? Not because it was hidden. Nobody buried the secret. It was forgotten, in the most ordinary human way. When the Western Empire came apart, it took the whole system with it. The organized supply of the right volcanic ash, the crews who knew the method by hand, the scale of building that made it worth doing. The knowledge just stopped being passed on because the world that used it was gone, and over centuries it faded out of living memory. When we industrialized building, we didn't rediscover their recipe. We invented a different one: Portland cement and steel. That's stronger and faster in the short term. And for a lot of what we build, that's the right trade. But we bought that early strength at the cost of the thing the Romans had: the ability to last and to heal. I want to be fair to our own age, because the honest version is more interesting than the flattering one. Modern concrete isn't simply worse. It's stronger sooner, it's consistent. We can engineer it precisely. The Romans didn't out-science us. They built with a method that, whether they fully understood it or not, left every wall able to repair itself. Build like that, and it will outlast you by millennia. And here's why it isn't just history. Making concrete is one of the dirtiest things we do. Cement production alone is responsible for something like 8% of the world's carbon emissions. And every structure that fails in decades gets torn down and poured again. Concrete that heals its own cracks and stands for centuries would change that math, which is exactly why MIT went back to those lumps. They weren't only solving a riddle, they were reverse engineering a 2,000-year-old answer to a very modern problem. And the team behind the discovery is now working to put self-healing, Roman-style concrete into real buildings. Step back and look at what happened. A civilization built stone that could repair itself, and did it so casually they left the evidence in plain sight in every wall. Their empire fell, the method was forgotten, and the cleverest people who studied the ruins looked straight at that mechanism, the little white lumps, and called it a mistake. It took us until 2023 to admit the Romans hadn't been careless. We'd been reading their best idea as their worst, while the evidence sat in plain sight for the better part of 2,000 years. If you like history that turns out to be hiding in the evidence itself, that's what this channel does. Subscribe, and I'll show you the next thing we got wrong for a very long time.